Hello guys, welcome back to Netcode-Hub channel. I am Frederick and I'm happy to have you here today. I believe you've seen what we're going to talk about today, isn't it? Yes, I believe you guys have been waiting for this for a long time, and that is the time. Building an e-commerce app, to be precise, a phone shop is a broad app to use one video to complete everything. No, it is not possible, okay? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to create it in episode. So that's going to mean an episodic. Okay, now I'm going to create a specific playlist and put all of this together. But all of those who cannot be watching these pieces, then what can you do? What can I do to help you guys? Yes, I have you in mind also. After creating all these pieces of videos, I'm going to put all of them together as one and I give it to you. So don't worry, if you can't watch these pieces, this episodic, please wait. When we are done, I'll put all of them together for you. But it's good that you watch in this episode form. Okay, I am just creating this specifically on the phone shop, but this could be any other e-commerce app. Okay, it could be anything that has come to your mind or that you want to build. Just that what you're going to do, you can actually pick some point from this and also use it in yours. All right, but before we jump right into this, make sure you have please subscribe to this channel and also hit on that notification bell so you never miss out any episode coming up. And also, if you enjoy what you're going to see today, please don't forget to like this video, because when you do that, it helps this channel grow very well. Stick around till we finish all this series or this episode, because trust me, it is something that you love, that you won't want to miss it. Alright, so thank you also for taking time to watch videos from this channel as well. As usual, I will do my best to make this very simple and clear so that you can get the understanding. I offer training sessions to people who are interested in Blazor. That's Blazor Server, Blazor WebAssembly, .NET MARI, Blazor Hybrid, and our web services talking about the Web API. So if you're interested, I have an email and a video description. Hook me up, or you can write me through that mail. Now, when we are done with this, I believe I'm going to put everything together and I'll put it at the GitHub. Or, no, I'm going to do it like this. After every episode, I'm going to push it, okay? And now, if you want to grab that specific episodic section, check that video description. I'll put the link over there. So you can just go in there and I'll clone that specific one. So the basic one, like what we're going to do, I'm going to put it there. You can just grab it from there. Okay, so let's jump right into this. What you see, it is not actually a complete one. It is just the forefront. That is what I have built, okay? Nothing else. The rest, you and I are going to do it together. So I do, you do, I do, you do. Then we move forward. Now, it's just, you'll be saying this, what is it? Is it not a slideshow? Yeah, it's a slideshow, okay? And this is what you know. It has the iPhone, that is the iPhone. I'm talking about the iPhone, not actually only iPhone, but any other phone as well, okay? So, and you can see how this by me. This by me, they are empty buttons. If I click, nothing happens. You can see nothing happens here. I have not implemented them. We're going to do it together, you and I, okay? And it has this new, these are, let me say, they are badges. You have new, and you can see there's a 13 plus. It tells you the quantity of this specific product that we have. We have the image here. And we have a search button, and we have this home, this product, and etc. All these are going to be implemented. You and I are going to do it together. We also have an account. That's going to be authentication system. But for now, this is just a bootstrap. As soon as you've seen this, you know where it's coming from, isn't it? Yes, but this is what I did. If I refresh this, now you see we have this search icon. Okay, so as soon as I click on it, then the search icon fades off. Then I have this new one. It's very simple to implement that. You're going to have a look with that too. And I think also the featured item. This is just a customized slideshow. Here, we are not using any slideshow like a bootstrap or any third-party component. It is just a card that I display. Then display this as an icon, as an image. If you want to make it an image, then that's what you're going to do. You're going to do skip and tick. Skip and tick, right? So if I click on this one, currently I have 8 here. I think they are 10 or so. You can see how this is the last one. As soon as I click here, I have the rest. I click here, it doesn't go again. Maybe that's what we can do. During our formation, we can decide to hide this. So as soon as it doesn't go anywhere, we can hide this. As soon as I get the last session, you can also hide this. Well, You can beautify it as you want. Okay, but for now, we're going to have a look on how to build this interface. Then we can now move on with this. If you want to buy me coffee to support this channel, and I specifically this project too, I'll be glad to take that one. So we are going to use .NET 8 WebAssembly core hosted project. We're going to create an API for that's going to be for our server. We're going to create our shell library to be added, and so we're going to add the Blazor WebAssembly. Yes. So that's what we're going to do. It's going to be the core hosted one. Now let's see. So with this, the name of this project is going to be the demo Blazor.NET 8 eCommerce. Then I'll add the specific comment that is a phone shop. So when you go to GitHub, you check the name and it will be there. So let me close all this. Then stop. So let me just create file new project. So before you can have a look with this, or before you can take part in this, you have to have this .NET 8 installed, the SDK installed. I believe you've done that. So the first thing that we're going to do here, we can go in for our API, our web API, and that's the ASP.NET Core Web API. Now the name, this is going to be the API. So with this is a solution. So let me write here solution. And now this is too long for this. I'm going to write here as a shop, phone shop server. So this is going to be phone shop. So this is phone shop server. Then let's have it created. The framework version must be 8.0. Authentication type is none. We're going to create a customized one. So let's click on create. Are you done adding yours? Let's add the next one, and that's going to be the client. So let's right click on the solution name and now add a new project. This time around we choose Blazor WebAssembly standalone. If you can't have that, it's over here. So choose find Blazor, and you're going to see it here. Blazor WebAssembly standalone. You must have it somewhere else. That is this one. So this is going to be online. This is going to be a phone shop client. So there's a client. You choose 8.0 as well. Authentication type is none. Now create. Okay, now we add the last part, and that's going to be the class library. So come here for library, and now you can see class library for C#. Click on this, and now let's say this is phone shop. And would I say this is shared or shared library? Yes, so this is shared library. So that's what you're going to do. Make sure it is also 8.0. Now the stuffs that both are going to use, we put them in the library. But if it is limited to a specific project, they're going to put it under that specific project. Okay. If you don't understand this, don't worry. When we start with it, you get it. Okay. So let's do some cleanup, and we delete that. You can also go to the controller from this API. We delete that, and also delete the class. Now, when you go to program.ts file, let's check. We have Swagger that we need to build this. We see also from program.cs file. Let's see. Okay. Now let's check the client section. Then we can also remove. We have this in here. Now check pages, weather forecast. You can remove this too. Let's remove the counter. And let's go to www folder. We have this sample folder. It contains just the JSON file for weather forecast. We don't need it, so let's also remove that. I believe all set. Now let's build this application together. So right click and now go to build solution. And I can see it is restoring some NuGet packages. So let's wait. All right, so you can see that, yes, succeeded. So all the 3 projects are built successfully. That's great. I hope you have also yours done, isn't it? Now, the next to do here is we are going to install some package. You want to configure this as the old WebAssembly, okay? So as soon as I start the server as the startup project, I start to run that, and it's going to run the clients. So that's going to be the ESP Blazor. Is it ASP.NET Core hosted? So the server section, right click on dependencies. Let's add NuGet package. And it's going to install asp.component. Let's see. I think I have it here. So component. We click on the browse section. Then I think components. So do I have it? Component.webassembly.server. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Microsoft.ASP.NETCODE.component.webassembly.server is too long. So this, make sure you install it to the server section. So click on it. Now let's install that. Okay, so it is asking us, are you missing some namespace? Okay, so I think all set. Now, if I decide to build it again, what's going to happen? Let's see, I have it installed. Let's see, build this. Okay, so built. Now let's go to the server. Let's configure the server first. So go to server and go to the program.cs file. Now in here, we are going to be using app.useWebAssembly. So where we have this, if it's in development stage, then we want to use this WebAssembly. Also, we want to change, instead of using controller only, we're going to use controllers with views. So here, we are going to change this to controllers with views and also add razor pages. Now, I believe when you create this, that is when you use this auto render mode and now you create this WebAssembly, it comes in with the server already. But this time around, you want to have access to an API, okay, on Web API. So that's why we are using this core hosted section. And this is .NET 8, but we are referring to a project in .NET 7 or 6. Okay, so maybe we can have, when we have time, we're going to have a look on that maybe in the next project. For now, let's have a look with this. Now we have this set, and we have also our used WebAssembly debugging. The next thing that we're going to do is we have to use Blazor framework files. And also we need to add the static files so we can have access to the www folder. And you know, we have authorization already. We can use map razor pages. So with this, we're going to also add this map razor pages. And let's also map controllers. So map controllers. And now map fallback. So to this index.html. And that is what you find in here. Then we have app.run. So this is what we need to do. Now after doing this, when you run this project, it's going to run the API. Okay, let's try that and see. I'm done with this. If I click on this, server is set to setup. Run this. Oh, I said it. You can see we have the API displayed. So we are going to configure it. So the WebAssembly will just run. The last end here is go to the client. So we have, this is the client section. Now we have properties here. So line settings. We have this here. All right. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to copy this. Then, so this. Then let's go to the server. Now you can see we have properties, line settings. you want to make it run the WebAssembly. So where we have this line URL, replace it with what you copied. So this and this and that and this. Yes. So this is all you want to do, or you have to do. Let's save this. And now let's add the client to this project. So right click on dependencies from the server and I click on add project reference. Let's add the two references to the two projects. Let's go to the client, right click on dependencies, add project reference. Now let's choose only the shared. So click on OK. Now let's build this once again. Okay, so I'll show you one benefit of creating this, configuring your own co-hosted project. Now let's run this. So when you create this ASP co-hosted project defaultly, you don't have access to the API, okay, unless maybe you install some Swagger and try to make some configuration. But when we do this, you're going to have access to our client, and you're also going to have access to our API. Let's make this run, and I'll show you. All right, so there's the one. Now the same endpoint, you can just grab this. We can paste it here, and I use Swagger. So this is gonna run the Swagger, and I'm gonna have our Blazor WebAssembly here. So we can test our API. We can test them if they are working, and we can also test our web app if it is also working. Isn't that beautiful? Yes, it is. I believe you've done the same. If you're not able to do this, please pause here and I'll try to go back small till you get it. So the next one here, once you have this, we're going to create our model for this product. And I'm going to make it as maybe a phone or a product. Let's say product. So I'll just close all this because you are done with them. You don't need them anymore. Yes. Now let's go to the shared. So we're going to work on the shared first. So we have the shared project. Where is it? This one. Let's create a folder and I'll name it as models. Not this. So here, new folder. And I'll name this as models. Now with this model, we're going to have one model and it is going to be product. So products. And now inside this product model, we're going to make here as public. And with this, maybe you're going to have these properties. We have the ID, the name, description, price. We have, this is going to be the base64 image. Quantity and our date uploaded is equal to today. The date that we're going to upload and there. Now the next thing to do here is I want us to add one property to it if it is featured. So let's make a duplicate of here, and it's going to be Boolean expression and say is it featured. So if it is a featured product, then we're going to put it maybe top there, okay, as a featured product. You can just clear these ones because we don't need them to simplify the work. Okay, so we have this as our product. And in this, for now, we're going to create one model, okay, and that's going for product. When as fast or as we get this project built, we're going to also increase the models. Okay, but for now, let's maintain this product. To have access to database, we need to install some packages, and you need to install efcore tools. We have to also install efcore SQL Server too. So these are the packages that I think we need to install for now, so we can have access to the server, okay, and that's database. So now let's see from the server. Right click on the dependencies. And now let's manage NuGet packages. Let's install this here. So efcore. And now this EF core, we need EF core. There's a EF core, so let's install that. You make sure it is the 8.0 version. We need to install tools. So let's search for tools. This is the tools. Let's install. Then we install the SQL server. Okay, so SQL Server 2, we have to install that. So when we check, you see we have them here, right? So these are the packages that we want for now. Let's close this. After this, we're going to create our AppDB contest. And let's create a folder to the server, because this AppDB contest here is going to be used by the server. So no project again. We add a folder to the server, and now we can name it any name that you want, but I'll say data. Let's create a class to this, and that's going to be a contest class. And this contest class, we're going to have access to our database. I'm going to say AppDB contest. So we installed EF core, so we can have access to this DB contest. It is a class in the EF core package that we installed. So we have to use Entity Framework. Now this is what you're going to do. Control period. We're going to use create this constructor and pass in this options. And now here we're going to specify this AppDB, which is going to inherit from this DB contest class. After that, we can create our database. So we say DB set, then pass in the model. So create database, and I use this product as the database columns. Now the name of the database table must be product. So that is the name. And maybe defaultly we can set this to default, because that is the only database that we're going to create. So we save that. Alright, so all set. Now the next to do here is to create our configuration settings in the app.setting.json. So I believe you know how to do this, isn't it? Yeah, if you know, then pause the video, try your hands on it, and now let's see. I'm going to give this as default. That's what I normally use if you're watching my videos. Now here, server, since I'm working with the same computer, I have it as local, and it understands the database here is going to be, well, let me say demo shop DB. Yes. Then we're going to have trusted connection. So trusted is underscore, take note. Then connection, set this to true. And also let's try the server certificate. So trust server certificate, set this to true. Okay. If you don't do this, you might have an error trying to run this migration. So make sure you do this, write it correctly, as you can see from here. Okay. Now that we have this, we have to register these settings in the program.cs file. So in here, before this app build, I'm going to create a var space. This is going to do all our steps. So I'm going to say starting. Then I'm going to say ending. Okay, so I won't get you confused. Now here, let me remove one. So here I'm going to say builder.services.addDB contest, passing the AppDB contest class that we created. And also this needs to specify an options. The options will help us, we'll see what I've done. The options will help us to have access to the SQL server. So these options, and now in here, we say options.use SQL server, and now we can just have access to builder.configuration.get connection string. And do you remember, we are going to get the default. Do you know where this default is coming from? It is coming from the app.setting.json. And in case this is null, then throw new, maybe in case you delay this, invalid operation exception. And now we can say that. So connection string not found. It's good that you handle errors, okay? In case this is a future error, in case there's any other issue or there's some issue that you unintentionally delete that, then let me move this here. So we can just terminate this here. So this is our configuration that we need to do. Control KD, we can format it to 1. Now that we are done, we can build this application and then try to run database migration to get our table or database created. Now, since we have installed the efcore.tools, we can do this peacefully without any error. Okay, but I think here, for us to have this done successfully, let's go to the server, click on it. Now here, invariant globalization, please turn this to false, else there'll be a problem. Now let's go to package manager console. So set for tools, then you get package manager, click the console. That is where we're going to perform a database migration to create or to put all the code here into an actual database and then the tables for us. So CLS can clear this. Make sure you have this server selected, and I say add -migration. Let's add a name. I normally use first for it, so you can also give it a name that you want. You can even specify it with your name. So funny, right? Now let's wait. Okay, so it is done. Forget about this yellow guys. Now what we're going to do here is update database. Oh, this is not working. Okay, so update database. Okay, so let's update this too. Okay, so now it is running our this and I'm creating the table for us. So when we run our this management studio, let me just see if I have this. Okay, I have one here already. Or even without using this management studio, if you're not having that installed, we can also check from SQL Server Objects. So click on Views, then check for SQL Server Object Explorer. You want to have everything here. Then wait for this to open. Open this up. Now this is, let's see. If I open this, this is not what I want. So we're going to create a new connection. So click on this, and now the server name, it is the same desktop. So if I click on local, that is a server name. Okay, so choose a server name for this computer. Now authentication is the same using Windows. Click on connect, and now this is going to get connected. Let's see. So trust server certificates, yes, set this to true. Connect this and have it connected. So if I open this, go to databases, and I can see I have this demo shop DB. So this is a database. Currently, if I open it, you can see data tables. You have product table, which will be going to be here after it gets refreshed, and that is it. So this is a table. Okay, so you can just right click on this and then view data. And our table is going to be empty because we have not added any record yet. Let's see. So we can close this. That's our table here. Good. So we have this. So the next thing to do here is to create our contract, and that's going to be the interface. We're going to create one interface which will be used by the server and also the client. So which project do you think it will be suitable for to hold this? I believe you said it is a library, isn't it? That is it. So let's close all this. Then let's go to the library, and now here right click on this. Let's add a folder, and I name this as going to be the contract. So with this contract, we are going to create one interface in it. And we're going to say this is going to be a class of interface. And let's say this is iProduct. Now, then this iProduct, we're building this little by little. So for now, we are going to have a tags of add product. So tags of response, then add product. Let's make this as public. You can remove all unnecessary users to simplify the class. Now this service response, we have to create it. So let's put it in the shared project here in our models, or we can put it in a response folder. So let's add another one here, new folder. And now let's say this is responses. And the name of the next model that's going to be service response. Okay. Now, within this service response, what do you think will be the properties that you're going to have in this service response? For now, let's have just this, a record class of this. We have our flag, we have our message. As we move on, maybe we can expand this a little bit. Okay, but for now, with this, okay, control period, we're going to remove this. Very simple class. All right, so control period, you have to include the namespace here. Maybe you can create a global class to include our namespaces, but maybe for now this is okay. Let's have it set. Now I need to create an implementation. Now this implementation is limited to the server. The server needs as a repository to have in connection with the AppDB context to get data from the database and also make an input, output, and etc. So instead of putting the interface here, it won't be a good idea because here, no one's going to use this interface. That's going to be the implementation. So let's make it as limited. So we go to the server and I right click on this, create a folder here. And maybe this folder, we can name it as repository. So repository. And now with this, you're going to create product repository class. So this is going to be product repository. Now this is going to inherit from the interface. So product control period, you can have access to that. And now this has one method. To control period, let's implement the interface. We have to create constructor so we can inject our AppDB context class to make an input to AppDB context. Create an instance, control period, let's inject this. Let's create and initialize this. So create and assign the field. Okay. Now when it comes to the addition or add-in, we can just make some checks up and see first if the model coming in, it is not null. This is going to be checked from the client section, but maybe it's good to also validate here before you add it to the database or make any query. So yeah, we can say that if the model coming in here is null, then you want to just return the new service response. So new service response. Then in here, what we need to do here is to specify the response here. So this is going to be false. And no, not flash, it's false. They're going to have, we're going to say model is null, something like that. Okay, you can just put it like that. And now let's make here as an async. Okay. So in case it is not null, then we can just check a name and see if this has been added already. So to do that, we can create one method to check the name. And this must return a service response. So down here, we can call this method to check name. We pass in the name and I'll check from the database and see if the name is equal to the name that is coming in here. Okay. So if not, maybe we can just convert this to lowercase. So to lower will be okay. And let's also check this name to also to lower as well. So to lower to work. So let's convert this to lower. I think so. All right. So we have this, and in case return here, if product is null. So if product is null here, then we are returning true. Else we return false and now display this product already exists. So let's call this method in here. So we're going to make a check first and I'll see if it is there already. And we need to specify the name, passing the model name. So we can just copy this. And now in here, we're going to say that here we're using the tuple, so we can extract the output from this service here. You see we have this flag and our message. We pass in the model name. And now with this, what we're going to do, we can now check if true, meaning it is null. So if it is null, then we want to just add. Okay. So you can see appdb context.product.add. then there's a commit. Where from this commit, this is what I did. You can see that you're going to be using appdb.savechanges more time. So it is good to create a simple class to handle that, so you can be calling them anytime that you want. So from that commit, I have the definition in here, and it is just a simple class which is going to use save changes from the appdb context. So down here, you're going to say private is a private class, and here you're saying that commit and appdb context or save changes. So we commit this. It means that after adding, we save changes. Then return saved. So you can even add product saved or etc. So in it, the output that you want to add, you can override and put it over here. If not, then return the message. Because in case it is not null, we're going to have this product already exist. And we return that message from the tuple over here. Return that message in from this. Okay. And that'll be all. Okay. So we have this saved. Let's save this. Now we have our implementation done. What is the next thing to do? We need to register this in the program.cs file. So here, let's create a DI. That's the dependency injection. So builder.services.add. Let's use scope. And now scope, we need the interface first and have its corresponding repository. So this is going to be product repository. And here we can terminate it. Okay. So now we have this set. The next to do here is to create our controller. So let's have a look how to create a controller for this. So let's close all these, save them. I believe here we are the same level, isn't it? Let's go to the controller. Right click on this. Let's add a new controller here. And it's going to be product, I think so. So let's use an API, then empty one. So here we're going to make it as product. So product controller. And we have the route specify API / the name of this controller, that is a product. Now we need to create our constructor for this so we can inject. So this is CTOR. Okay. Then we have to inject our repository. So let's create an interface. We inject our interface here. Then we say this is product service. This is product service control period. Then we can create an assigned field. Okay. So the first one is we're going to have this HTTP get. And now this get, it is just getting the product list, isn't it? So, okay, so we did not get a product list. And I think we have to add it to the repository and now the contract. So the iProduct, let's get the entire product list. We're going to say task. Then there's going to be list of product. I believe you got this right. So list of products is a get all products. All right. And maybe we can have access to get featured product, isn't it? And yes, so let's see. We can have access to this. Or can we specify this? And maybe we can say this is bool. We can use featured product. So you can also get the same featured product and also get the same product. If get featured product is false, it means we want to get all product. But in case featured product is true, it means you want to get only featured product. And all of these must be in a list. So instead of creating a separate method for them, you can use one. Okay, so we won't have somewhere a lot of codes in our application. Now let's go to the repository here. We need to implement this interface, the control period. Implement it like that. So we have this get all product, it has this parameter. Then here we're going to check if true, if featured product. If true, then we're going to get all featured product, isn't it? Then that's what we're going to do. We can return appdb context dot product dot where. Now with this where, we're going to specify this dot featured. So this means it's true. Then dot to list async, return it. Okay. Else, then return await appdb contest dot product dot to list async. So this must be an async. Okay, so here must also be an await. So this is all that we are doing. We check if it is featured, get the same. If it is not featured, get this. But you see, with the featured, we are specifying a function here, so we're making a check, right? And then here return everything. So this is going to be both featured and not featured product, but this is also limited to only featured product. Maybe in case you want to have access to the products which are not featured too, you can also do that. I believe now you have the idea, you can implement your own. Okay, so in the controller, we can have get, and this is going to be a public async task. So we can make it iAction, or let's make it specific. Okay, so task, and we say this action result. Let's specify a list of products. So list of product control period, let's include this. Okay, then we say get our product. Now we need to pass in, so boolean, we say featured product. So featured. Okay, so with this, we can open this, and now we're going to have access to var product. So it's equal to await. Then let's call this product service. So product service over here dot get all product, and I'll pass in this featured. Okay, so after that you're going to return okay. So this is what we are doing. Now since we have this, we can return this okay, but it returns okay if only this. There's an error here. Now if this is null, well, here cannot be null. Okay, if this is false, then we want to return only the all product. In case it is true, we want to return all featured. And now this method is going to handle the two guys in there. Okay, if this is null, well, it means the communication was established successfully. So we can return the same okay. You can return not found or exception or bad request when the parameter that you send here is inaccurate, or the parameter that you're going to receive is inaccurate. But for now, let's maintain this. Okay, we have a lot of response codes that we can send. This is 200. We have bad requests. We have not found. We haven't gotten there. So let's maintain what we have here. Okay, now let's add product. And this is going to be HTTP post. Okay, now post, we can copy the same signature of, well, let's have a public async task, and we're going to have action results, and this return a service response. So this service response, we're going to say add product, and on the payload here it is product, and now let me make it as model. So this is a payload, and now we're going to check if this product or if this model is null. Although this not be null, but it's good that you check. So return bad request. Then do you want to pass in model state? You want to pass in model is null. Okay, let's pass in our own. Okay, in case it is not, then var product is equal to await Then you can have product service dot add product, then pass in this model. Then in case this works, there's no need for us to return it. Let's return OK, and I'll pass in the results. So product. Oh, it's not product. No, there is, don't say it's not a, it's a service response, so it's not product. We can say this a response. Okay, so let's return also. We can check it, and later on we can display the error to the user. So let's return the results in here. It's a result or response, so this must be a response. All right, so let's save this. So this is what we want to do for two products. We have this, the first one, get a product. We can specify it as featured or not. Then we also want to add product. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Now let's try this and see if this is working. So let's run this, and I'll check our API first. Okay, so now that we have this, we can just grab this and now check the Swagger. And I'm going to have access to our controller. So that's the get and post. So if I click on get, we have to get, you see we have this featured product. When we leave this, we can just click on try this out. We pass in false. It means that you want to get the whole list of products. Now click on execute. And this must return null because there's no product yet. You see we have everything. Now when we also set this to true, it means get only featured one, and it's still the same. Let's try to add. So post, try this out. And now here, you can see featured is true. So let's set this to false. Now click on execute. Let's see, so you can see we have flag is true, product saved, response is working. Now let's see for get product. And our featured is false. Execute this. We have it because featured is false, because featured is false. Now let's get those ones which are featured as true. It's empty. You see? Good. So we have done the next one here is to create configure or consume this service in the client section so we can receive or display them here. You know, I want this video to short ones, not too long. So I want to end here, okay? And this is going to be the first episode for this series. And now you've seen how to create a controller and also add and also get product. The next one is going to be how to consume. Maybe if this approach, it is not the best for you, let me know. Maybe if you want me to spend maybe 2 hours or 1.5 hours in doing this, or if I make it in this piece form, it's okay for you too. Please let me know. But for now, I'll be waiting. I'm going to improve based on your response. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. And check the description. You're going to have this access to this. Then let's wait for the next episode, which will talk about consuming this API